Welcome back, Truth Seeker. Last night, after I finished my radio show, somebody sent me a message and it said, "Hey, Globetard, watch this video of proof of how the sun sets on a flat earth." And I noticed that the video they sent me was by Rob Skiba, who happens to be the man who has the radio program after me on Truth Frequency Radio. Unfortunately, Truth Frequency Radio does entertain the flat earth crowd. They have a number of flat earth programs, not helping us build our legitimacy as a radio network, but in the radio business, you gotta find an audience, and unfortunately, there's a lot of people that have been sucked into this flat earth psyop. So anyway, I was watching the video that was sent to me. I did want to see this experiment that proved how a sun set on a flat earth. So let me show you the experiment right here. And I'm hoping that you'll be able to point out what's wrong with this experiment yourself. But if you can't, I'll make it obvious for you at the end. So this is a flat earther who refers to people who don't believe in the flat earth as globetards, just like the person who sent me this video. And this is the part of the experiment they wanted me to see. So enjoy. Here we go.
So here's what I came up with. I've got my magnifying sheet frame, and I created a little stand to paste the sun on it and keep it the same height over the flat surface of a table, so the sun is always going to be parallel with the surface. And check this out. All right, here's the first test of a sun moving over a flat surface, and with no atmospheric magnification, it does what we might expect it would. It gets smaller as it goes away from us. All right, now let's see what happens when we add in our atmospheric magnification. Again, water and refraction. Water causes magnification and refraction, right? So let's bring the sun back. Oh, check this out. Refraction bends the light downward. It made the sun set on a parallel surface as it was moving parallel, the same height, the whole way over a flat surface. The refraction caused the sun to set. Not only that, well, let's bring in the beginning of that little test, and we see that it maintained pretty much the same size, too. Pretty close. And of course, that's because as it's moving away, the magnification is still taking place, and so even though the sun's further away than it was in the beginning of the test, the magnification basically preserved the same size, and the refraction made it set. Now, I'm just going to put forward a crazy idea for you to think about. And that is, if Rob Skiba could figure this out, I'm just going to go out on a limb here. I think it's quite possible that the creator of the cosmos could have figured out the same thing and engineered our beautiful sunsets, thanks to all that water he placed in our atmosphere.
Okay, so I want to pause it here and keep this image up on the screen. Notice with his experiment, he can't make the sun set below the table. So he has to put up, this landscape of hills and mountains to create the illusion of the sun setting. As we know, the sun sets behind the ocean. You don't need hills or mountains in the way to see the sunset. So, for him to act like he's just proven that this is how the sun sets on the flat earth, it's just absolutely absurd. And you heard him when he was speaking. He said, well, with this magnification lens, the sun stays close to the same size. Well, close isn't the same as the same size, because the fact of the matter is, as the sun sets and rises, as the earth orbits the sun's size never changes in the sky. Not from the sunrise to the sunset. And don't say that with your naked eye you can see the size of the sun changing because your eye's not up to the task. For anyone who tried to watch the eclipse without the glasses recently, you learned that you couldn't see the first 30 minutes of the eclipse unless you had the glasses on. Your eye, the sun, it's too bright. You need a lens, you need a filter. The fact of the matter is, the sun does not change size in the sky from sunset to sunrise to its highest point in the sky. It stays the same size. So he has two major problems in this experiment. The sun doesn't stay the same size, and he can't make it set beneath the table. You know, it's a clever experiment. I appreciate the creativity, but then at the end to act like, well, if I could figure this out, then obviously the creator could. And you know, to call people globetards throughout the video. I'll link this video down below. The Flat Earth crowd, again, it's shills, it's gullible people, and it's poorly educated people. Rob Skiba, who has the radio program after me, he's an obvious shill. And I don't care if he's on the same radio network as me, you know? I don't care at all. He's an obvious shill. He goes right after my radio show, and for anyone who's still listening when my show concludes, he just makes the whole network look stupid. Says things like the police are here to protect us from the New World Order. The police are the minions of the New World Order. The Flat Earth is a psychological operation to make the truth community look stupid. You know? He has another clever experiment in this video. Here, I'll just show it. Here, let's just watch it. He has one other clever experiment explaining why you cannot see the base of a building from distance. We'll watch this too, and I'll explain what's wrong with it.
Of the atmosphere. You're missing, a good portion of the city just by pulling my iPhone back on a 3-foot long desk. That's how much I lost of the city. And as with any scientific experiment, you always try to improve upon what you did before. So I got some foam core, made a little housing for the magnifying sheet, and pasted the city on the back there. And I made it as two separate pieces so that I could flex it as necessary, because I think that there are different types of atmospheric conditions that would allow for more magnification versus less magnification. So in this scenario, you have more magnification, and in this one you have less. And for this one, I decided to put the Toronto skyline into my little box here. And let's try it again. Okay, we're all the way up against the glass. Now let's zoom across the lake. And wow, look at that. The lower portions start to disappear. Now let's zoom back in to get a little closer to the one that Captain Baltard was talking about here. And wow, look at this. Here's his image on the right, and here's my image on the left. Missing lower portions of the city.
So again, can you see what's wrong with this experiment? He has the magnifying glass right up against this piece of paper. And he's arguing that the water in the atmosphere creates this effect that's like a magnifying glass. You know, while that might be true, that the atmosphere can create a magnifying effect, it's not like there's just a magnifying glass that's just at one layer that's up against the city. You know, it's the entire distance. He's put a magnifying glass up against this piece of paper, and that's what's creating this effect. If he changes the position of this magnifying glass, this isn't going to work this way. You see? He's being clever, trying to create arguments to dismiss the real reason we don't see the base of a building. The base of a building disappears incrementally as you travel away further in distance. You know, not because there's a magnifying glass right up against it, and as you travel further away, then the magnifying glass creates this illusion. You know, a lot of flat earthers, they're just trying to figure out all sorts of devious ways to dupe people into this lie. It's very obvious that the earth is spherical. You know, the curvature of the earth is provable. He can't make the sunset. You know, if he brings this magnifying glass back with him as he goes, this isn't going to happen. You know? These are just dishonest arguments that fool foolish people. And that's it. That's it. You know? The reason you can't see the base of the building of Chicago from 30 miles away is because 240 inches of it are beneath the curvature of the earth. 8 inches per mile. And for all of you who say, no, it's 8 inches per mile squared, that's per square mile. Because, you know, it's 8 inches curved each direction. This is where they all get this figure from. The Earth has a radius of approximately 3,965 miles. Using the Pythagorean theorem, the calculations to an average curvature of 7.98 inches per mile, or approximately 8 inches per mile squared. That's if you're talking about, you know, because a square mile of the Earth, it's curving in both directions. You see? That's why it's this or this. Flat Earthers want to say, it's 8 inches squared, which means 64 inches per mile. Therefore, from 30 miles away, you know, you wouldn't be able to see any of the city. No, that's just not understanding the mathematics. So, this whole flat earth thing, it needs to be put to rest. I really wish Chris Geo would take a stand against flat earth and dump all of it from Truth Frequency Radio. You know, Rob Skiba, not needed. Jeranism, not needed. Mark Sargent, not needed. These people all make us look like idiots. So, leave it there, Truth Seeker. Until next time.